Hi guys, I'm Beth and this is Read Remark. Today we're going to do a March reading wrap-up. Thank you for joining today. So newsflash, it is freezing. So I'm bundled up in my coat and I am here to bring you the latest reads from the month of March. So number one on my list was On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. This is the same author who made our collective hearts break with The Hate U Give. On the Come Up is her latest book. It centers around Bree, a high school girl who lives kind of a rough life. Meanwhile, though, she has a good circle of friends and she is kind of a lyrical genius. And I think for me that's the funnest part of the book, is hearing Bree's train of thoughts as she kind of pieces the words together. It's really, really fascinating. Now, she gets a taste of stardom when one of her songs goes viral, and it's kind of like a stressful series of events. That's kind of where the book didn't catch me as much, because a lot of the bad decisions that Bree kept making and this bad path that she kept going down, her character seemed too strong to have fallen for that. I didn't quite buy it. I think that Bree would have been strong enough to stand up for herself a lot sooner, and she would have been able to see that this was a bad path a lot sooner also. But all in all, good book. The next book is The Ultimate History of the 80s Teen Movie by James King, and I love me some good 80s teen movies. This book is remarkable because it talks not only about the movies themselves, but also about what was going on in American society at the time that they were made. So there's a lot that's kind of underlying that goes along with it. For these movies not only deal with teens, but the movies that he covers in his book also deal with adults. Now, if I had my druthers, we would have some more of the cheesy 80s teen movies that I love, including Teen Witch, because top that. Or Girls Just Want to Have Fun with Helen Hunt and Sarah Jessica Parker. There is a couple of mentions of that movie, but not as much as I would have liked. I have a photo bomber. So if you want an in-depth compendium of all the movies in the 80s that you can think of, both teen and otherwise, this is the book for you because it goes so in-depth. Very interesting. Many thanks to NetGalley and Diversion Books for providing me with an advanced reader copy via my Kindle so that I could exchange it for an honest review. For this next section, the kid wanted to look at Instagram and was getting chilly, so he's going to help me out with this next part. I'm going to talk about Washington Black by Edugyan. This book was captivating in the first part. It follows a young slave named Washington Black, Wash for short. Slave life is tough. It is tough, and Edugyan does not shy away from that fact whatsoever. Wash is really left moralist, and I feel like for much of the book, he's just kind of bouncing all over the world from one place to another, kind of keeping different places and different people at an arm's distance, not quite willing to find a home in any place or anyone. I think for me, that kind of made the story itself a little bit moreless once they left the plantation in the cloud cutter. It didn't really grab me as much as it did initially, but Edugyan did bring the story back around quite nicely in the end, to where I was able to understand things a lot better, and Wash was able to find some resolution within himself. I think my own hang-ups with that story, with the second half of the story, were just in the hang-ups of Wash himself. The final book I'm going to talk about today is The Silent Patient by Michaelides. This is a thriller that I found really good. I'm going to give you a quick synopsis and then I'm going to give you my thoughts because I do have a couple of thoughts about it. It follows a woman named Alicia. She is blissfully happy with her husband, Gabe. And then one night she stabs him to death and goes instantly mute. She never tells anybody why she did it, what led up to it, what exactly happened. She doesn't even defend herself in court. She just takes her sentence, says absolutely nothing, goes to jail, or actually I think an insane asylum, and just stays there for years. Years later, Theo, this therapist, comes to treat her. He admits early on in the book that he is a therapist because he himself is truly, truly messed up. And it takes maybe the mind of a truly messed up person to be able to recognize and treat that in somebody else. So he takes on Alicia's case thinking that he can get through to her. Meanwhile, we see him kind of becoming more and more taken with Alicia, with her story, and finding pieces of her past. He even goes rogue and starts doing like this sort of on the side investigation, trying to find out what led up to her going mute. And then we find something out. There's a big twist. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. But I really want to talk about it. I really want to tell you what it is because I want to talk about the twist. The twist is good. It's really good. The thing that kind of bothered me about this book was the character of Theo himself, the psychologist who is treating Alicia. You know, there are times that he seems good and then times that he seems kind of evil, kind of nefarious. There are times he seems completely self-aware of who he is and what he's like. For example, in the very beginning when he says that he is a messed up person, and then there are times he seems completely clueless about himself and about his intentions. I don't think that the author gave us quite enough to grab on to about Theo. I don't know, I feel like maybe the character of Theo cheated us out of as good of a twist as we could have gotten, but I'm not quite sure how the author could have rectified that. So I'm just going to say all in all, it's a good book, 4 stars. I recommend it. Okay, so that is my month in reading. Let me know what you guys read this month, and if you have any recommendations for me, I really appreciate it as always, and I will catch you all next time. Here's to another great month of really great books. Bye. Ignore the strange, creepy boy behind the tree.